how do you know how long something has been on the market for, other than asking the agent?
Could I kick off there? Just following on from the last one, if you know your area, you'll know all the properties on the market, you'll know how long they've been on the market. If you're starting from scratch and you're going from area to area, you've got to ask the agent and they'll say whatever they want to say. I know there are a couple of other ways that Steve will probably touch on in a minute, but it's about knowing your area. You know, if you're starting development sourcing and you are starting in an area, you want to know everything that's on the market. Whether you're going to chase it or not is not the point. You want to know that it's on the market, and then you'll track that in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. If it's still on the market, they're possibly becoming more motivated, or it's just not for sale. So it's a bit of a flippant answer, but I think it's very relevant.
I think pick up on that straight away then, as you said, that knowing what's in your area, what's coming on the market. If you can get Rightmove, currently where we are, we've got Rightmove set up so every property comes on the market in a 5 mile radius, we'll get pinged through, and we get probably 2-3 emails a day with what's being listed. But so back to the question, I suppose, is how to find out how long it's been on. If you don't necessarily been tracking it, then Property B works with Firefox. I know currently there's been a few issues with an update on Firebox that might restrict it, but that was always a good site. It tells you any alterations, tells you price drops, and how long it's been on the market for. And again, I think it's also, other than speaking to the agent, which you've obviously then got to trust what the agent said, but other than that, I can't think of any other ways of finding out.
Oh, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't ask the agent generally, and we'd ask along the lines of if you're speaking to them face to face or on the phone or whatever. It's just sort of, I seem to think this property's been around quite a while. Exactly when did it go on the market? It's been hanging around. So you know, just don't say, how long has it been on the market? You need to frame that a little bit. You know, sort of soften the question down a little bit.
And if you, sorry, interrupt you there. If you are tracking it, it's not necessarily a bad question to ask the agent if you are to speak to them, to actually find out, one, if they know their area and they know what the products they're selling, and also if they're telling you the truth.
No, that's a really good point. I just want to link that answer back to one of the previous questions as well, about your criteria for your searches as well. So one of the additional criteria that we wouldn't necessarily tell the agent straight off the bat, but we would certainly make them aware of it once we built a relationship, is that we're not interested in competing on deals that are just coming onto the market, but we still want to know when they are coming onto the market. So that might be where your alerts actually come in. But you might be, talking one-to-one with the agent, contacts, more the personable sort of contact, saying that to be honest, we're not interested in getting into a bidding war, or because when something comes on the market, it's a shiny penny, everybody looks at it. We're not in that game, so we will sort of say, well, come and if you've still got it in 3 months, then perhaps we can have a chat, sort of thing, because that gives people the opportunity, perhaps the wannabe developers possibly, or the people that are just chasing around for shiny pennies and everything, just to get it out their system, have a look at it, and then if it's been bought and they paid over the top for it, or there's been a competitive sort of bidding process there, then to be honest, we don't want to be involved in that process anyway. So yeah, we would always wait for stuff to come back on the market. So that's a good thing to sort of note with your with your tracking system as well. So whatever tracking system that you are using, whether it be just simple Excel, whether it be a software, Pipedrive or something like that, it's noting when they're coming onto the market, but then setting up an alert possibly when 3 months is up, or a certain time period that's all right with yourselves, to then actually go back and revisit it and say, is this still on the market now? And if it isn't, update your details all the time. It won't take you long to scrape data, list everything that is for sale, that's on market, and then start tracking it from sort of minute one, and try and find out as much back catalogue information as you can. But we'll be looking at the stuff once it's been on the market for a while. It becomes more interesting.
One thing to add to that as well, I suppose, if you are doing your Rightmove notifications, You're also seeing what is coming on the market, which is also a sign if you are building, what competition you've got, what sort of values are, the prices going up and down, and you can get a good idea of what a 2-bed flat could be worth without doing too much work, because you are constantly watching what's coming through. And say, as I said, it's competition as well. Even the second-hand market, if that starts getting flooded, then it could affect the new build market. So it's just you might not necessarily look through it in too much detail, but it's just you're constantly seeing it. You might not necessarily be taking it in exactly property by property, but you get a good idea of what the area is doing.
Get a good feel for it.
That's what comes back to knowing the area. If you don't know some of this stuff because you're going scattergunning, as Bryn said, you will leave yourself open to risk. It doesn't matter who you are, and yes, it can be successful, but it's a lot more successful if you keep to a particular area. But that area could be the whole of the south of England if you've got a big enough team, but you're not going to do it all in one go. You're going to do a couple of counties. You might do, I don't know, the M4 corridor, for instance, or whatever, and then you might spread a little bit south and a little bit. I think you just keep on making that area a bit bigger. Or you might have 2 or 3 completely separate areas, but that's very much dependent on having, that sort of experienced partners or whatever is in that area. So sort of slightly contrary to what was said earlier, you can develop in other parts of the country, because we actually do, but we do only when we're working with somebody that does have real local knowledge. We won't go anywhere that's completely new to all of us. It's too risky, and there's no need. There is, as annoying as it is when people like me say there's loads of stuff out there, there is, but you're not falling over it. You're really not going to fall over it.
I think it's the same with a lot of businesses, that if you've got a small team, 1, 2, 3 people, you're often better off staying lean and sticking to one area. It's like it with sales. The bigger the team, the bigger the business, you often find there's a regional sales team in different places, but it's all under one business, and then you've got an overarching sort of management structure or whatever it may be. But actually, if you're a one-man band or 2 or 3 and you try and pick out 5 or 6 different areas in whatever business, you're going to be running around chasing your tail most of the time. So expand your search, expand your territory to the size of the team and the available resources that you've got.